Our puppies are now 6 weeks old today. Let me show you what week 6 looked like. Hello, this is Erin with High Desert Family Doodles. I am continuing on our new series to talk about what we do with our litters week by week. And this is a little different view. We're actually in week 6. Our puppies are 5 weeks old with the litter we're following, but I am choosing to do this video with our other mini Bernedoodle litter as I do their week 2 now, ESI and ENS, because it is more often than not that we're trying to juggle at least 2 litters somewhere along the process. So during Winnie's puppy's 4th week, these little guys were born with Claire. This is our French dessert litter. Hi, baby. They don't have their eyes open quite yet. As I said, they're really only, now we're on day 8. 8 days old and still a little tiny. We do their ENS and ESI still. I'm only on day 8 of that, which is really like their 5th day. And they go till day 16. So I mark that, I do their handling. This is a little bit of a refresher. It's just the gentle movements right now. I'm putting them in different positions. I have an ice pack under me that I will also use. I am doing this. We just played and did lunch with the other litter. And the kids are now letting them nap and watch a movie with them, so they have that noise and different desensitization type stuff. So they're watching the live action Beauty and the Beast, cuddling puppies in their puppy pen so that I can get this done. And like I said, I felt like it was worth sharing that just because we are very attentive to what's going on in each litter and their development, but that doesn't mean that there's not other things going on, whether it's home life, work life for Jay and I. School starts soon for the kids. When I try to work our curriculum, you know, when the kids can be home, either before school we do some handling, or when they get home we do a big outside play. Same thing with these guys, we kind of have to juggle, like when I can care for my moms. Claire's out back with a potty break and hanging out with the other mamas, getting a little time so that I could clean out their pen. I'm doing this stuff a little bit later today, but they've been tracking really well with weight, so I didn't feel pressed to do it early on, and Claire was sleeping when I came in to do it earlier, so I thought let's do it after lunch. We're up and down in the evening still, since she's taking care of them and doing all the things with them overnight in terms of like making sure she's eating enough, going out and in and outside a lot. It doesn't feel like she rests as well sometimes all through the night. There's definitely big chunks, but as well as like some of her good, like I'm just passed out with the puppies nap. So she was doing that this morning. Anyway, so I'm gonna finish these guys stuff. They're all in this little basket right here hanging out with me, and then share with you what our 6th week with our litter looks like too. Thanks for joining us. Hope that you're enjoying these videos, and if you have any questions, let me know because it's helpful. I don't really know who watches these or doesn't watch these, or if it's helpful. Kind of just make it up along the way, but I would love your feedback. Well, it's 100 degrees outside, so I took our dining room in the two areas that they normally come in. I put this gate so they could just have this whole open floor space, which is funny because same room, some of the same things. I put them down on the floor and they like froze. Like, where are we? What is this bed? What is this surface? So it just goes to show that every little experience is a little bit new for them, even the slight changes. So brought a tray out here and we're just doing some new curriculum to stay in the AC because I take them outside and they just like get exhausted so fast. So they've been napping all afternoon. You can see are still not like super active, but are all wanting to wrestle and play and mostly just pull apart the covers together. So maybe they'll all just fall asleep, but we're gonna try these things too. Hot day. What is it, puppies? What is it? Go get it. Good boy. What is that? Okay, I thought I would do this video with Mama Winnie like we started for our week 6 rundown of what you're gonna see. She gets lots more snuggles and just solo time. She's actually gonna start getting picked up by her guardian mama and spend some chunks of time at home as we start to wean her this week. And so by the end of week 6, I'm going into like half of week 7. So once the puppies are 6.5 weeks old, so right now they're 5 weeks. It is the 6th week of life, 5 weeks old. I'm sure I'm confusing people, but is when we really like start weaning. And then by the middle of when they're 6, so 6.5, the middle of the 7th week is when we want to be pretty well weaned. And at that point, we're just letting mom nurse as she needs with her supply, just to make sure that it is a slow wean that's safe and less painful for her. So mama likes to nurse a lot, so it is definitely easier that our guardian mama lives right here. She can be in and out. I can pick her up a few doors down, which is huge. When we don't have that, we just keep mom out of the room more often, let them be outside different times, etc. So but it's helpful to have the houses that we do right in our neighborhood that are all part of our program. So the other things you're going to see, all that to say, week 6. So some of our exposure will get louder and more obnoxious in terms of audio and visual. So we'll have more kids out front when they're playing, which is a little bit more unpredictable noise and movement. They all know the rules really well and are very safe, and we're always with them, or an adult is with them when they're playing, but they'll start to play with kids more. The kids bring their friends over once it gets out in our neighborhood that we have puppies. Usually it's a fun party most days at some point. And then things like I brought out the blower earlier today. We start to do a little like more intentional desensitization. So yesterday I grabbed the shears, and while I was trimming up Canyon because he's about to go home getting ready, I was just using my clippers with the battery, movement sound, to just like let them feel it, let them sniff it, let all of Winnie's pups like put their hands and so they could feel the vibration. And then I held it on their bottoms because the first thing I will do with those clippers is just to trim up their bottoms as they get baths now every week before they leave. We've already been doing clipping nails every week, really, sometimes a little bit more often, just as they need it. And then they've had their first like full wet exposure, but they'll start to get intentional baths, and we just up that in terms of like how long or like how much washing we do each time, and then adding the dryer. So I start with the blower. We found that our blower makes a very similar noise. We can just add that noise in first, then we'll blow it at them. Then I use the blower that is our hair blower for the dogs. It's a commercial blower, so that it's the same thing that they'll see at the groomer. And we have found that we need to do that. I've been working with some trainers and just getting feedback from family. So I found that that's maybe one of the things we could have done a little more of. So we started that earlier the last few litters than we used to, in terms of making sure they're around that and then actually using it on them, and doing baths earlier in the process. So week 5, we did our first kind of full wet, a little bit blow. And then we do this blower and or hair blower, like intentional volume, feel, and then on their body kind of work. So that's huge, I feel like, because all doodles need to be groomed, and that's one of the things that could easily be forgotten, but I feel like makes a huge difference if they can have that exposure early on. The thing that one of the trainers had a couple of our puppies like right after they left that was in Ben was like, they don't just stand at the table very well to do all the things. So I always start adding that in as I blow, that it's not just this coddling blowing, but that they actually need to be, standing on a table as if they're at a groomer. And then to do their like little clip eyes. We don't really groom them before they leave us, but I do clip around their feet with the clippers, just so they can get that exposure, the hair that grows over their nails. And so then my owners can see puppy nails a lot more easily when they go to trim them the first time themselves, and for us too. And then they get their bottoms trimmed. But that's about it in terms of grooming. And then brushing is another part of that. So that will get added in this week. We'll do brushing. It's a lot of prep work. I mentioned last week, a lot of prep work to our next week. Next week is temperament testing, vet visit. It's a lot more like I need the puppies to kind of have their activities be more of this like perform or do these things that we have to do. And so this week we do a hard, like, you get used to all of the extra things that they'll see eventually in life, but in this setting is when they're really starting to develop that like trust, sense of fear. There's a fear window, there's a couple fear windows for puppies before they're 1 year old that you really need to recognize, and then watch how they respond in those places to like continue to expose to things that might have been fearful. And so at week 8, before they go home, they're 7 weeks old. Week 8, usually our puppies go home at 8 weeks old. They do a lot more intentional like of that stuff, and then we've already got homes selected so that we can say, okay, now this puppy's gonna have a little kid, so that's the one I want the little kid to always grab if I can, or this one has a quieter setting, so I'm just gonna like grab it and cuddle more often on the couch at night, things like that. I'm getting ahead of myself, all that to say, this is just a prep week is what I would call it. It's a little bit more of a level of exposure, so all the things that we've done in terms of curriculum, like the ball pit we did, and like added a couple days. We did a little bit of the pool last week, and so we'll do more pool with more water in the next couple weeks. So some of the things we just like up the level of intensity for what we're exposing the puppies to. Otherwise it's like more moving, shaking things. I mentioned more kids, more like puppy parties where we have like, safe friends over. We all sanitize, make sure they know kind of what we're looking for them to do, and they help us with handling as different people that they're not necessarily safe with. So that will all start to happen a little bit more. But I will just share now as we go through the week what some of those things look like, and hopefully I filmed enough by the time I go to post this. But again, if you have any questions, let us know. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.